Stunning evidence has emerged that may indeed overturn the election as Nevada tosses 153,000 ballots and President Trump gains in Georgia. In this video, we're going to take a look at the voting discrepancies that have nullified a local election in Nevada. We're going to take a look at the bombshell evidence produced by one of Trump's lawyers that may indeed be a game changer. And we're going to see how Republicans in Georgia are livid, and they're getting ready to absolutely storm their legislature and demand a full audit of their vote. You are not going to want to miss this. Welcome, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you, ready to bring you our latest episode celebrating, yes, the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel where each and every day we focus on optimism and encouragement amidst all the defeatist fake news nonsense spewed out by the mainstream media. Before we get into it, let's give a huge shout out to sponsor this video, and that's Prepper's Peak new solar water heater. With all the lockdowns that we've witnessed over the last several months and what may be coming in the not so distant future, this solar water heater can turn out to be our very best friend. The solar water heater is an amazing device. It allows you to heat and boil water outdoors using simply sunlight. It can heat water in as little as 30 minutes and it'll work anywhere the sun shines. You can use it to boil water, to cook noodles and rice. You can use it to sterilize water for drinking. It's easy to clean, can be used anywhere there's sunlight, and the best part is that if you click on that link below today, you're going to actually get an additional 15% off their already reduced price. So don't wait. It's a limited time offer. Click on that link below before they sell out and get your own Patriot Sun cooker today. All right, guys, so let's dive right in here. We have some fascinating developments in the ongoing presidential election. First, let's start with what just happened in Nevada. 153,000 ballots were discarded from a Clark County local elections, which is Las Vegas. Clark County commissioners have declined to certify the election results for a county commission race because of what they perceive to be significant voter discrepancy. Now, while this does not directly impact the presidential election results, it does further shed light on the concern over voting discrepancies that have plagued this election since 4 states in particular, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, mysteriously stopped counting the votes in the middle of the election night when President Trump was winning all 4 states by hundreds of thousands of votes, only then to completely overturn that lead once counting resumed in the early morning hours of November 4th. Now, this was a down-ticket election in Clark County between a Democrat candidate and a Republican candidate, and it was on the same ballots on which voters cast their vote for either Trump or Biden. Officials found that some of the districts there in Clark County, they found nearly 140 voting discrepancies, including at least 6 examples of people who voted twice. President Trump was quick to hail this decision to toss the election results. He tweeted out, "Big victory moments ago in the state of Nevada. The all-Democrat county commissioner race on same ballot as president just thrown out because of large-scale voter discrepancy. Clark County officials do not have confidence in their own election security. Major impact." So he got 153,000 ballots tossed out of a local Nevada election. So given that this was a down-ticket election, right, we're going to have to see what the consequences are, what they're going to be for the presidential election. Now, moving on to the legal front, President Trump's attorney, Sidney Powell, read an affidavit on air on the Lou Dobbs show the other day. The affidavit is a sworn testimony of a high-ranking military officer who was present when Smartmatic, which is the software used by Dominion Voting Systems, he's making the bombshell accusation via the affidavit, upon penalty of perjury, that Smartmatic was designed in a way so as to manipulate votes. Now, here's an excerpt of the affidavit that Sidney Powell read on air. He charges that the software was originally designed for Chavez in Venezuela, if you can believe it, where he wanted a software, quote, designed in a way that the system could change the vote in each voter without being detected. He wanted the software itself to function in such a manner, in such a way, that if the voter were to place their thumbprint or fingerprint on a scanner, then the print would be tied to a record of the voter's name and identity as having voted, that the voter would not be tracked to the changed vote. And again, this is Sidney Powell, Trump's attorney. Quote, he made it clear that the system would have to be set up but not leave any evidence of the changed vote for the specific voter, and that there would be no evidence to show and nothing to contradict that the name or the fingerprint was going with a changed vote, close quote. Now, obviously, if this affidavit turns out to be legit, the entire election would get thrown into absolute turmoil and the political left would be in for a massively rude awakening. Now, moving over to Georgia, Georgia's going absolutely nuts right now. You're not going to believe the drama that's been going on there. First, we have a mere recount of the votes, which is a sham that we'll get into in a moment, but you've got a mere recount of the votes in Georgia, which has actually shrunk Biden's lead. They found 2,600 votes, mostly for Trump. All right, these were discovered. They were lost, apparently, because of a server error. 1,600 of those votes belong to Trump, so that netted him about 800 votes. But that's where things are just getting started. Now we're finding, as we talked about on Saturday in our exclusive live broadcast for our Insiders members, which you'll definitely want to be a part of, by the way, by clicking on that link below. If you don't know, we've got an Insiders Members Club where you get exclusive access to me. We do live Q&A every week. You get special live stream broadcasts exclusively for our Insiders members. And to make it even better for you, you can now join at a special low price, but with your first 2 weeks absolutely free. You can cancel at any time, but it is a limited time offer, so do not wait for that. Click on the link below today, become a member, get your first 2 weeks free, and you'll be able to participate in our upcoming live Q&A this Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You're going to absolutely love being a direct part of a global network of conservatives all over the world. So don't wait. Make sure to click on that link below and become a Turley Talks Insiders Club member today. It'll be awesome to be sharing this with you. All right, so as we talked about on Saturday in our members club meeting, we're finding out more and more that this recount is a complete sham. And that's because the Georgia Secretary of State is a total fraud. And if you're in Georgia, you need to get on your phones today and call your Republican legislatures, your Governor Kemp, who's, by the way, as I understand, hiding under his desk as we speak, and get them to audit the votes. And that's because the Secretary of State is a guy named Brad Raffensperger. Raffensperger turns out to be a rhino par excellence. He's a never-Trumper. And he's purposely preventing an audit and recanvassing of the vote in Georgia. He's purposely hurrying the recount. He's keeping Republican observers away from the tables where the votes were being recounted. And he actually originally wanted the final results by like 3 p.m. last Saturday, just 36 hours after the recount began, which is ridiculous. Just in comparison, Wisconsin's taking 2 weeks to audit their vote. So if any of you are in Georgia, you want to contact your governor, your legislatures immediately and demand a full and complete audit of the vote with Republican observers adequately represented. This guy, Raffensperger, he is actively attempting to hand Georgia over to Biden and destroy President Trump's chances at re-election. So that's why Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina has stepped in. He demanded that this rhino Secretary of State actually audit the ballots cast. Keep in mind, Georgia's rejection rate of mail-in ballots back in 2016 was 3%. Okay, as I understand, that's average. Around 3% of mail-in votes are going to be tossed out for all kinds of reasons, voter signature discrepancies and the like. Steve Cortez of Newsmax has reported that the rejection rate for mail-in ballots in Georgia for this election is 0.24%. 0.24%, even though the level of ballots is 6 times larger. At least 40,000 ballots should have been rejected for all kinds of reasons in Georgia, but they weren't. So what this means is that there has been no major vetting of the ballots. There was no verification of the chain of custody of these ballots in any significant way. This is why these votes must be audited, not merely recounted, but audited. They are by their nature uncertifiable ballots. And without certifiable ballots, Biden cannot win this election. And so instead of auditing, as Lindsey Graham said he needs to do, you ready for this? This rhino Secretary of State actually ran to CNN and accused Lindsey Graham of pressuring him to cheat. He's accusing his fellow Republicans of being sore losers and pressuring him to alter the election results, which of course are absurd. Gang, this is a fake recount. It's a recount that refused to verify signature rematches. It refused to verify chain of custody. And it seems pretty obvious. It's because this rhino, never Trump or Secretary of State, doesn't want to see all those ballots thrown out. And so as a result, there are now 14 state senators in Georgia who have called for a special session. And Brian Kemp, the Republican governor, is apparently hiding. He's nowhere to be found in the midst of all this. Now, the good news is that Republicans in Georgia are absolutely livid. They want those mail-in ballots audited immediately, which if the Republicans even remotely have half a chance of staying in power in Georgia, they had better fix to start doing that right away. So, of course, we're going to be keeping our eyes on how things develop here. But there is absolutely no question. This election is not over. The most mind-blowing bombshells are yet to come. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how Trump's lawyers and even some legal experts are predicting that this election will indeed be overturned, as the evidence that they'll be producing promises to shock the conscience of a nation, as they're saying. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.